everyone, assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a life update. Also, my cat will be roaming around the room, so you might be seeing her as well. A lot in my life has changed, and I kind of want to update you guys because the last time I did a life update, I believe I was still in Lebanon, and I was talking about how much I missed the US and I wanted to come home and how that was like really hard for me emotionally. And I was just feeling pretty homesick last time we checked in. And now I'm back in the US and I'm actually living with my parents. So that's like update number one. I moved in with my parents. So let me just start from the beginning. Last time we checked in was right before, or like maybe a couple months before, I flew back to the US with my brother and my sister-in-law. So my husband stayed behind in Lebanon and he was finishing up a summer school program. And so then the three of us, my brother, myself, and my sister-in-law, flew via Qatar Airlines. So I made a video about my travels home, so you can watch it if you'd like. We flew back to the US, we flew into New York, and then my parents picked us up. It was a very long journey, but finally I was home. And then a few days later, my parents moved from the house that I grew up in to the house that we're in now. So I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, and then we just moved to another town in Massachusetts. So it was a little bit, I guess, emotional to say bye, but now that I'm here, I'm really glad we moved because I really like this house a lot. And I feel like it's like starting new and I'm kind of like redecorating my room, and yeah, so it's exciting. And I'll talk more about redecorating my room as well. So I was in the United States for about 2 weeks without my husband, and then he flew to Boston with our cat. So that's how she's here. My husband, he flew with the cat, which I know was really hard because A, he was flying alone, and B, she's a crazy cat. Like, I'm not even gonna, sugarcoat it. She's pretty wild, and she meows super loudly, and like if she doesn't like something, she'll meow like she's dying. And it's heart-wrenching to hear, but yeah, so she's very dramatic, very like over the top. So I think it was a difficult flight for him. He did it for me, so I appreciate him a lot for that. So then a few days after he arrived to Boston, we flew to Georgia to visit his family. And it was an amazing visit. We got to catch up with them, and we got to see my husband's niece as well. She's very, very adorable. So it was a good time. Yeah, so that's what we did, in the month of August, basically. So since before I came back to the US, I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to come and stay permanently or just come for a visit and then go back to Lebanon, which was my original plan. So when I originally made my life trajectory change, I was on a path to go to graduate school. So I had just finished my prerequisite classes and I had applied and was accepted to universities to go start a master's program in speech language pathology. That was what my plan was. But I had experienced living far away from my husband for about 2 years, and it was really difficult for me. And I didn't want to feel that anymore, like that kind of depression and lack of motivation because I wasn't with him. And on top of that, there were certain life goals I had of learning Arabic and having a year or two where I just focused solely on Islamic studies and Arabic, and I had never gotten to accomplish that. And if I did start grad school at that time, I felt like I never would, or life would kind of just get in the way, so to speak, and I wouldn't get to do it. So I decided to defer to the university that I decided to go to for a year, just in case I decided to come back after a year. And then I decided to, go to Lebanon and learn Arabic and Islamic studies like I was doing last year. And, I really liked Lebanon for a lot of reasons. I liked it because, I was learning things I've been wanting to learn. I was living with my husband, and that was amazing. We were living together for the first time. I met a lot of people there that I really liked. I liked it for many reasons, but at the same time, like I talked about in a previous video, which I'll link up here, Lebanon is a hard place to live because Lebanon has a lot of problems. The country on its own has a lot of problems, and then also certain things are just different from the US. One thing in particular, I guess, that was difficult for me was that, the way people drive there is absolutely insane. Most cars are stick shift. I don't know how to drive stick shift, and even if I did have an automatic car there, I really wouldn't be able to do my own errands or things like that, or I wouldn't feel like I was able to because the way people drive is so crazy. So it was hard for me to have to always depend on other people to run an errand or just do basic things. I couldn't go out and do those on my own. So that was an example of something that was hard, but there were other things that were difficult to live with. And I think, yeah, I talked about those in a previous video. So it was amazing experience, but a difficult experience at the same time. I have certain goals that I want to accomplish so that I can, settle down, so to speak, and start having a family and, like having children and stuff like that. And I felt like, my husband has been focusing on like Arabic and religion for the past like 5 years, and he has a certain goal in mind. So I'm not going to stop him from that goal, right? But, at the same time, I have certain goals of like having children, in my 20s, for example, like starting to have kids in my 20s. That's something I'd like to do. I'm 23 right now, for reference, turning 24 in like 8 days or something like that. So I'm turning 24 soon, and I want to kind of get this degree done so that I'm at a place where I am able to make like a professional salary, and then I can start having children and stuff like that soon thereafter. And I felt like the longer I was in Lebanon, the more I was delaying that. Like I said, I have a certain goal. Like I want to keep studying Arabic, I want to keep studying religion and stuff like that, but I also have this goal that I'm currently pursuing right now, which is getting my master's degree, which is why I ended up staying in the US. I felt very conflicted about what to do, like whether or not to come back or to stay here or whatnot. And it took me a very long time to decide. I actually didn't like fully decide until I was back in the US and my husband was back here, and we like talked about it after talking about it so many times, and then finally made a decision. It was not a quick or easy decision to make, but ultimately we felt like if he's doing his like Arabic religion path there, we should both be playing to our strengths, so to speak. He should be doing that, and I should come here and work on something that's going to lead to like gainful income for us. I never thought I would go back to long distance. When I moved to Lebanon with my husband, I said I will never again do long distance. Like I decided that. I was like, I never want to experience that kind of sadness again, because it can be very, very depressing. Ultimately, that's what we chose. So it's looking like I'll probably be long distance again for the next 2 years or so, which I did 2 years before, so I know I can do it again. It's just gonna be hard, and I'm hoping I think I have more monetary resources now, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to visit more as well. Last time we were long distance, I was in college, and then I was taking prereq classes and like working part-time, but all my part-time salary was basically going to my living expenses. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to visit more frequently this time around, and because of that, it won't be as depressing. So originally when I made the decision to come back to the US, I thought I'm gonna work for a year, save up money, have some money to actually spend. That's what I thought originally. And then I thought I will reapply to graduate school in the fall, and the reason this was my thought was because I thought it would be too late to tell, because this was August, like this was literally last month. I was like, oh, it would be too late to tell my grad school now, oh, I want to start in the fall, like we're coming up on the start of the semester. So I just assumed that, and I didn't, reach out to them or anything when I came back to the US. I was just like, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna reapply, and then I'm going to go to grad school the following year. So, however, what ended up happening was when I was in Georgia, I was talking to my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, about my various options for the year, and she was like, no, you should really reach out to the university because they might actually surprise you and tell you there's an open spot. Like I've known people who have done that really last minute, and then they've actually been able to go to the university. And I was like, okay, let me try it. So I emailed the university and I was like, I deferred a year ago. So my circumstances have changed, so it's looking like I'll be available for the class of 2022. Is there room in that class for me? And they emailed back pretty quickly, and they're like, yes, actually, given our current numbers, there are. And I think that maybe their numbers are a bit low because of COVID, although I don't know. But so they told me that there was, and I took a few days to kind of make a decision. Okay, do I want to go to grad school this year, or do I want to work? Because I am a little bit tired of studying. I've been studying literally every single year of my life since I was like 5 or 6 years old, so I'm a little tired of like being in school. But my sister-in-law encouraged me to just do it now, get it done, so that I can have like a career job in the end, and like sooner rather than later. So I decided, okay, I guess I'm gonna start grad school this fall. So I kind of did all the prep stuff in like 2 weeks or so, filling out forms and doing the FAFSA and all this stuff. And I have now started grad school. I started a week ago. So the university that I'm going to is called Gallaudet University. It's located in DC, and it's you know, a school for the deaf. So the focus of my speech language pathology program is like oral rehab. We have to take ASL while we're there, which is really cool. So that's something that I'm really interested in. So that's kind of why I chose the school. And so the university is located in DC. It's not an online program. However, because of COVID-19, fall semester is online. So I've just been living with my parents in Massachusetts, having like a Zoom school basically. And I do all my schoolwork on this couch right here, which is actually the reason I got it, because I was like, I really want to have a comfortable place to do all my work. Yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past week, and those are like mostly the life updates. Besides that, it's more just like, you know, now that I moved back in with my parents, I've really like started focusing a bit more on like decor, like room decor and stuff like that, which is something I've been sharing on my Instagram page. Make sure to follow me if you're not already. Also, somebody in the comments of one of my YouTube videos recently was like, you should really do like a room tour or like a renovation series for YouTube. So I'm wondering if that's something that you'd be interested in. Comment down below if that is something that you'd be interested in, because I've been making a lot of changes lately, and I've been documenting them on Instagram, but I'm wondering, like, I think I do have somewhat of a different audience on YouTube. So if you'd be interested in, you know, seeing that on YouTube as opposed to just Instagram, let me know in the comments and I will do it. Yeah, I've been making like little changes here and there. The changes are coming slowly but surely. Even if I do end up moving to DC like in the winter time, which I'm actually really hoping that we have online school for the whole year until the summer, because I'm so tired of moving. Like, I've moved from Lebanon to the US, and then I moved from, you know, one place in Mass to another place in Massachusetts. And like the year before that, I moved from the US to Lebanon. So I'm just like done with moving. Don't want to move anytime soon. That's why I'm really hoping that, you know, second semester is online too. And I'm not really minding online school. I thought maybe I wouldn't like it, but I actually really enjoy it. Like, I like not having to commute. I like being comfortable. I like not having to like focus on getting dressed. It's just easy. It's a lot easier. But anyways, I got a few questions regarding life updates on Instagram. So I'm going to answer them now, like do a little Q&A, and then that's pretty much my life update. So one person asked, why did I choose Gallaudet, which I hit on previously, like because of their focus on working with deaf and hard of hearing clients. That's been an interest of mine for a long time. I took ASL in high school and I really enjoyed it. ASL is American Sign Language. And so that's definitely something that I want to continue to learn, like a language I want to continue to learn. If I can use it in my work, that would be amazing as well. One of my friends was asking me a bunch of questions on Instagram. She asked like, where are your favorite places to shop for decor? My favorite places to shop for decor are Marshalls, and mostly Marshalls to be honest, but Home Goods and Marshalls are owned by the same company, so they'll have a lot of the same stuff, and Home Goods is more like focused on home goods. She also asked, how much time do you spend in your room? I spend a lot of time in my room because I do school in my room on that couch. So during the week, I'm pretty much always in my room. And somebody else asked, what was it like transitioning back home after a year in Lebanon? It was interesting. Coming back to the US after being in Lebanon for a year, I appreciate so much about where I grew up. Like, I appreciate that I didn't grow up in a developing country. I appreciate that, you know, the way people drive here. I appreciate having simple luxuries that Lebanon doesn't have, or like people in Lebanon don't have, generally speaking, like Dunkin' Donuts and like, you know, Walmart, and like easy access to large stores. Like in Lebanon, it's very like, a lot of the stores there are very like specialized. Like you have to know where the rug store is located, and you have to know where like the curtain store is. It's not like, it's a lot of the time it's hard to find stores that are like all encompassing. Like those things are not common in Lebanon, and when you do find them, they're often expensive. And then she also asked, what was it like transitioning when going to Lebanon? So when going to Lebanon, I actually feel like the transition, like going to Lebanon was not as, like there wasn't as big of a difference. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when I came back to the US, I was like I'm here, like, you know what I mean? And I was so thankful to be back, and to be back to what's familiar, just because I was homesick. But I think when going there, it was like, I guess I had to get used to a different way of living. That was like the biggest thing, and like a different way of cooking, because like, you know, you can often find things that are like, you know, pre-packaged here, or like pre-cut food or stuff like that, and like you can't find that there, so you have to really make everything from scratch a lot of the time. I think it was just getting used to another way of living, and like living, I guess, more like simplistically than I do here. I think that was the largest transition. And then how has it changed you afterwards, like the experience of being in Lebanon? I think like I was saying before, just being thankful for what I have and the life I grew up in, because I saw a lot of people there who had very different circumstances and didn't grow up in the same way I grew up, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like people have a lot of struggles there, and you know, people have struggles in the US too, but it's like struggles of a different kind. It's like third world problems as opposed to like first world problems. I think it's also changed me in the sense that it's given me a really good foundation for continuing to learn Arabic, or continuing to learn like Islamic studies in Arabic, or continuing to learn Quran. Like my reading and writing abilities in Arabic have just like skyrocketed. My language abilities as well, much more than I ever thought I could achieve. Like I think my largest jump has been in understanding. Like I understand so much of Arabic now when I hear people speak it that I didn't understand before. My speaking abilities are pretty limited because of my personality type, not like practicing enough, stuff like that. But I think I've given myself a really good foundation to continue like in a slower fashion. And then also living with my husband for a year, I feel like having lived with him for a year maybe helped with like the long distance thing, because I feel like before, when we were long distance, like I didn't have any experience with him in person. And so when I would be with him in person for short periods of time, it was like leaving him was like heart-wrenching, because I had never experienced that, and that was like all I wanted was like to experience actually living with him. But now that I've done it, it's like, you know, I have that experience. I'm really, you know, I'm hopeful to return back to it soon. But it's like if I visit him for a short amount of time and then leave, it's like, well, I know what living with him is like, and it's amazing in so many ways, but it's like I'm no longer like wondering what it's like, and that curiosity is no longer making it like as hard, I think, to be long distance. I don't know if that makes sense. I think a lot of it is that living with my husband in Lebanon really strengthened our relationship, where we've become closer, and I think all of that was really, really necessary to like kind of solidify our bond. And then if we need to go our separate ways again for short periods of time, we can. Okay, I think that's everything for my life update. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, let me know if you want home decor videos in the future. I'm hoping to also do the what I eat in a day video that I mentioned in my last video soon. My dad hasn't made barley bread yet, but if he doesn't do it in the near future, then I might just use like regular whole wheat bread for my what I eat in a day according to the Prophet's Diet video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I post new videos every Tuesday, and I will see you guys next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Bye. Salamullah ala al-hadi Rasulillah.